Japanese-American internment was the forced displacement of over 110,000 innocent Japanese Americans by the United States government, sending them to detention camps during World War II. This decision was the culmination of the federal government's long history of racist and unfair treatment of the Japanese immigrants and their descendants, which started with limited immigration policies during the late 1800s. After the assault on Pearl Harbor by Japanese aircrafts on December 7, 1941, the United States War Department had a growing suspicion that Japanese Americans might have aided Japan in the attack. Even without any hard evidence to support that view, some political leaders called for a rounding up of Japanese Americans, especially those living along the West Coast. Politicians wanted Japanese Americans to prove their loyalty to the United States. This caused a conflict between the United States Department of Justice, which opposed moving innocent civilians to detention centers, and the War Department, which preferred punishment for the Japanese Americans. Over 110,000 Japanese Americans were impacted by this decision, two-thirds of whom were native-born citizens of the United States. There were 10 relocation centers set up by the United States government, and of those the largest was the Poston Relocation Center, also known as the Colorado River Relocation Center, which was also home to approximately 17,000 Japanese Americans. The Poston Relocation Center was originally broken up into 3 different camps: Poston 1, Poston 2, and Poston 3. And they were nicknamed Dustin, Toastin, and Roastin by the people held there. La Paz County, Arizona was the area that they decided would be home to the Poston Relocation Center. Living conditions in the camps were not great. Some prisoners were forced to take buckets of food to their quarters daily. Furniture was made from whatever food could be found, and mattresses were stuffed with straw. Clothes, toiletry, and other items would have been bought in the neighborhood shop. There were also no shoes or clothing for the children. According to a 1943 study published by the War Relocation Authority, Japanese Americans were living in tar paper covered barracks without plumbing or cooking facilities of any kind. Coal was also difficult to come by, causing the nights to be extremely cold, and internees slept under as many blankets as they were allowed to have. Food was also rationed out at the cost of 48 cents per prisoner and served by fellow prisoners. Prisoners in the internment camps were assigned jobs to help boost the economy in the camps. Although there was constant confusion with how the prisoners would be paid for their work, it was often reported that many internees would go months without being paid for their work. The internment camps where Japanese Americans were held in were often overpopulated and offered very poor living conditions. In his address to the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco, Dylan S. Meyer claims that the food served at the relocation centers was nourishing but could not be considered luxurious by any conceivable American standard. The cost of feeding over several months had ranged from 34 to 42 cents per person per day, and it was established of the authority that this cost should not exceed 45 cents per day, in any case. All rationing restrictions applied to the civilian population were strictly followed. 2 meatless days were observed at each center each week, and in areas where local supplies were short, milk was to be given to small children, nursing or expectant mothers, and special dietary cases only. It was often reported that mess halls were unfinished, there was a lack of refrigeration for meat, plumbing was often incomplete, the hospital was not completely built, and there was a danger of failure in the water supply. Because of its position in the Colorado River Indian Reservation, the Office of Indian Affairs was in charge of the planning and management of the Poston Relocation Center. The Office of Indian Affairs' first intention was to convert parts of the relocation center and give them to local tribes after World War II. The practice of turning relocation centers over to local populations was strange, and some of the structures in both the Poston Relocation Center and other internment camps across the country were destroyed immediately after they were closed. However, the Poston Elementary School, which was located in Poston 1, was saved, and the Colorado Indian tribes continued to take advantage of the school system and the irrigation ditches left behind after the war. Since its closing, a majority of the land surrounding the Poston Relocation Center is now being used for farming. If you were to visit Poston now, you would be able to find the memorial monument, which was built to mark the site of the relocation center. Visitors will also be able to see the existing Poston Elementary School building, ruins of the associated area, the machine store, and portions of 4 other buildings. The original memorial site was constructed in 1949 by a group of former veterans who wanted to preserve the site for future generations.